Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I will be showing you how I built my Kemper stage pedalboard from scratch, so you could possibly build one yourselves. I wanted to build this one from scratch because I couldn't find the exact dimensions I wanted for the pedalboard, and also I thought I would make a fun DIY project out of it and save some money in the meantime. This video is a continuation of a previous video I made where I put together my quad cortex pedalboard. You can find the link in the top right corner. That video was not a DIY project. I bought all the equipment and just put it together. If you have seen that video, my intentions were to build it and have it be my only pedalboard and sell my Kemper stage. In the meantime, I changed my mind and decided to keep both the quad cortex and the Kemper stage, and that I would build a separate pedalboard for Kemper stage. So I would have two pedalboards, one for each unit, and I would use them accordingly. What I want from this pedalboard is to hold my Kemper stage along with my expression pedal, my guitar wireless, my booster, and possibly one more guitar pedal. Also, I wanted to have two USB charging sources to charge my guitar wireless and my in-ear system or my mobile phone. And similarly to my quad cortex pedalboard, I want it to be powered by as few cables as possible. Now, because I want two USB charging sources, I had to use the patch bay and the power brick from the quad cortex pedalboard and bought a new patch bay replacement. I also bought a separate guitar receiver so that I would not have to move it from one pedalboard to the other. I also bought cables, a fast charger, and a USB port from Amazon, and also 3M dual lock mounting tape from Temu, which I'm gonna show you later. For the pedalboard, I bought an 18mm sheet of pine wood from Super Home Center because I wanted it to be a robust build. Let's get into the building process. Before buying the wood, I measured all the gear that I wanted to use and designed the pedalboard with the gear on in AutoCAD. From there, I extracted the dimensions of the members that needed to be cut. This way, I made sure that all the gear could fit, the angle of the pedalboard was okay, and also that the gear that was placed underneath could fit and would not touch the ground. Once I had the design ready and bought the wood, I started marking it down to cut it into pieces. I had 4 pieces to cut in total. One is the cover, the other one is the front member, and the other 2 are the side members, which have a 7-degree inclination. For the cutting of the pieces, I used a handsaw along with a clamp to hold the piece of wood stable, and also some construction gloves to avoid damaging my hands. After cutting the pieces, I used an angle grinder with a sandpaper to get the edges as level as I could. The top side of the front member needed to have a 7-degree angle to follow the angle of the cover, and since I didn't own an angle saw or any other tool that would do that, I tried shaping it manually. After about 20 minutes of manual shaping and putting the pieces together to see if they would fit, I learned my lesson, that you cannot accomplish a completely level edge with the hand. You need the right tools for that. I ended up using some tools from the workshop of a friend of mine that did the job to an acceptable level. To put the pieces together, I used wood glue that I got from Super Home Center for around €2, and also drilled holes and screwed the pieces together. So I did the marking and the drilling, then I applied the glue to the edges that were coming in contact, and then screwed the pieces together and left it to dry overnight. extra robustness, I even screwed some angles underneath. Once I put the pieces together, I placed all the gear on it and did the marking for the routing. In total, I needed to do 6 cavities. On the main board, there were 2 for cabling and 1 for the Kemper ventilation that had to be exactly underneath the Kemper vent grille. On the front piece there were 2, 1 for the patch bay and 1 for the USB charger. And on the side pieces there was 1 on each for the handles. I started doing the routing myself, but again I didn't have the right tools. And by trying to do it without the right tools, I wasted a lot of time and the result was not even close to acceptable. So I went back to my friend's workshop and used the wood router, which did the job perfectly and in no time. When I got back to my workshop, I sanded the cavities and smoothed the edges. I relocated the 2 angles on the sides to fit the handles, and then I cut out the handles, sanded them and smoothed them. The next step was to smooth out all the edges of the pedalboard, making sure that no wood was sticking out on any of the joints and that the pedalboard is comfortable to handle and it looks nice and smooth. The last step before the painting was to drill the holes for the patch base screws. For the painting of the wood, I used the wood preservative that I had used in the past, that is suitable for preserving wood outdoors, and I used the painting brush to apply it. I applied the first layer only using the wood preservative and some water, and I left it to dry overnight. The next day, I sanded it down and removed any dust particles with a blower and a cloth. When applying the second layer, I used even less water and mixed some color in there to make it more interesting and closer to the color of the Kemper stage, and again I left it to dry overnight. next day I applied the rubber feet by screwing them in on the 4 edges of the pedal board. I bought the rubber feet from the Super Home Center for around €2. Then it was time to mount and connect all the pieces of gear. Starting from the front panel, with the female to female USB-C to USB-C panel mounting adapter, which I got from Amazon for €19. Next, I mounted the patch bay, which I took off my Quad Cortex pedal board to use on this one. It is a Rockboard mod MIDI USB patch bay, which I got from Thomann for €63. From this patch bay, I will be using only the power and the USB input for now. Underneath the pedal board, I used the power brick, which I also took off the Quad Cortex pedal board. It is a Rockboard power block with an IEC power cable that I got from Thomann for €125. I used Velcro tape to mount it because there was Velcro tape left on the power brick from the previous pedal board. In case you're wondering, I replaced the patch bay and the power brick from the Quad Cortex pedal board with this Rockboard DC1 patch bay, which I bought from Thomann for €88. Moving on, we have a 45-watt USB-C fast charger that I got from Amazon for close to €10, and I used 3M dual lock tape, which I got from Temu for close to €8 to mount it. The fast charger connects to the back of the USB-C adapter with a USB-C to USB-C short cable that I got from Amazon for €6 for a pack of 2. The way all these are connected is through a Y-splitter cable that goes out from the backside of the IEC power on the patch bay. It splits, and on the one end it connects to the power brick with an IEC 13 plug, and on the other end it connects to the phone charger with a CEE 7/16 plug. I bought a USB 3 Type A short cable from Amazon for €7 to connect the USB port on the back of the patch bay to the USB port on the power brick. On the upper side now, the Kemper stage is going to go to the bottom right corner, and based on that, the rest of the gear will be placed. Before applying the dual lock mounting tape, we remove the rubber feet. I cut 4 pieces of dual lock tape to be placed one on each corner. With dual lock, there is no need to cut very long pieces, as shorter ones will also hold. First, I positioned the pieces of dual lock on the Kemper, then I removed the paper from them and I positioned the Kemper on the pedal board. That is the way to go if you want to avoid any offsets between the locations of the dual lock on the pedal board and the locations of the dual lock on the Kemper. To mount the expression pedal on the pedal board, I unscrewed the bottom cover and flipped it over and screwed it back on. The reason for this is that the flip side of the bottom cover has a metal cover sheet, which is a better surface if you want to stick something to it than the rubber on the other side. I made sure I removed any dust before putting it back on. I put the dual lock on the expression pedal, and before sticking the expression pedal to the pedal board, I made sure that the cable is going from the expression pedal to the Kemper without issues. I bought a Shure GLX D6 Plus guitar receiver from Thomann for €270 to mount on this pedal board, and kept the other receiver on the Quad Cortex pedal board, and I will be using the same transmitter for both receivers. I follow the same procedure for the guitar receiver and also the booster. Then I went on and connected all the cables and also the power cables. For now, I tucked the cables in and it seems fine, but in the future I might need to do some cable management. To power all this up, I got an IEC13 Y-splitter cable from Amazon for €1, so one less cable to worry about. The one end will go to the Kemper and the other end will go to the patch bay, which will power up the rest of the gear. I plugged them in and everything worked great. Lastly, I tested if the USB were working fine, and thankfully they were. The USB Type A is not a super fast charger, and as you can see, when I plugged it into my phone, which had 41% battery, it showed that it needed 1 hour and 25 minutes to full charge, whereas the Type C, which is a super fast charger, showed that it needed 59 minutes until full charge. Now that the pedal board is built, I'm just gonna go through the chain. So this is where the chain begins. This is my guitar receiver, and from the output of the guitar receiver, it goes into this hole here and comes out of this one to the input of the booster. I'm gonna get an angle cable for this one. So from the output of the booster, it goes to the input of the Kemper. And then I can manage everything in Kemper. So this is the chain of the Kemper. So I put all the effects that I want in there. And the output of the Kemper is here and here, wherever I want. And this goes usually front of the house for me. And also I have the expression pedal plugged in here. This is a stereo cable that goes into this hole and comes out of this hole and goes to the expression. My next project will be to create a DIY trolley carrying case for this, because again I cannot find one which isn't too big or too small or way too expensive. I will make a video out of it. Now let's take a look at the pedal board once again. Thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you learned something from this and I inspired you to make your own DIY pedalboard. Doing all the research, buying all the gear and tools, and then putting it all together is something that I really enjoy, and I also learn a lot from it. Feel free to write any comments with questions or suggestions. I will be happy to respond. And also don't forget to subscribe. I would appreciate that. Thank you again. My name is HarryDime and I will see you in the next video.